Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
How you get so big getting food of this kind?
One of the worst ways to start off a video is to say, I'm not entirely sure why I'm making this video, so I'm not going to tell you that. That said, I'm here to talk to you today about Star Wars Anniversaries, because it's May, and May always gets me really jazzed. I'm always just really happy in May, because May is just Star Wars month. It's everywhere. It feels like it's in the air. It's like pollen, only instead of allergies, it gives you happiness. A lot of you know that May the 4th is Star Wars Day, and of course, there's Revenge of the 5th, or Revenge of the 6th, depending on whether or not you want to celebrate 2 days in a row, or like, let Cinco de Mayo be a day, I guess. But there's even more than that. So Star Wars itself became a thing in May. May 25th, 1977 is when Star Wars, later to be named A New Hope, premiered in theaters all across the country. And by that I mean like 50 or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but it was ridiculously small, the number of theaters that showed it. But it just knocked everyone out of the park. Anyway, you can watch that documentaries on it. It's not the point of this video. Up until the Disney era, all the Star Wars movies really came out in May. The first anniversary that comes up is May 16th, was Attack of the Clones anniversary, and that was, see, this year that would make it 16 years, which is crazy. Then we get May 19th, which is the anniversary of The Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith, and now also Harry and Meghan's anniversary, I guess, but that's not as important, to be honest. But The Phantom Menace turned, crap math, 3 years older than Attack of the Clones, so that's 19 years, and then Revenge of the Sith was 13, because 13 is 3 less than 16. I can do math. And then today, the 21st, is the anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. And that's easier math because that came out in 80. That's 38. So The Empire Strikes Back came out 38 years ago, which is nuts. And then the 25th is, like I said, A New Hope, which is 41 is 41. I knew that because I read the 40-year book last year. I'm good at math. 41, and then the 25th is Return of the Jedis, which will make it 35, which is great. And then, of course, the 25th will also be the official release date for Solo, A Star Wars Story, so Disney is bringing it back to May. Although, if you're a real purist, you would know that the Clone Wars feature film that was indeed released in theaters came out in August. Still counts. And what a lot of you might not even realize is that May 14th is George Lucas's birthday. Of course, it coincides with Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day being a holiday which I think is only on this day in the US, but I could be super wrong about that. But Memorial Day is always like this kind of third-ish Monday in May. It's basically the unofficial start to the summer movie season, which is why so many films come out. It's like the crown jewel of movie opening weekends is Memorial Day. So anybody who's like Disney doesn't believe in Solo, they gave it Memorial Day, so take that for what you will. Of course, now Disney has Avengers and all of that stuff going on, so Christmas is kind of the other big week of release in movies, so it makes a lot of sense that they would put Star Wars there, and that's fine. May is just a really fun time. And what's weird is I don't necessarily find myself watching the films more, or watching the TV shows more, or reading Star Wars more, because I'm doing that so much anyway. It feels like a time when it's more okay for me to just talk about Star Wars and people can deal with it. I mean, again, I do that anyway, I just feel a little bit less obvious about it. But I think it's looking at these anniversaries that is part of what makes Star Wars so fun and so special. Is it's old. By film standards, it's old when you go back to 77. And it really hasn't been rebooted. I mean, in some ways, yes, The Force Awakens served as a sort of reboot. They've not gone back, they've not remade the movies. Yes, they started the expanded universe over, but the films themselves, which were the first things that got made. Remember, Star Wars didn't come from all those books came from the Star Wars films. That's why the films are ultimately more important. Hashtag sorry not sorry. It's that age that makes Star Wars so fun. It's really something that only Lord of the Rings and like Star Trek can share in terms of longevity, a mega movie franchise. But then again, Lord of the Rings is different because it is an adaptation. It wasn't a movie franchise first. It got pulled from something else. Star Trek is closer. It was a TV show first instead of movies, but I think that's kind of where Star Wars and Star Trek kind of have this sibling bond with each other. Star Trek is older than Star Wars, but it also started with on-screen medium. They're really the only two things. I mean, I guess you have Doctor Who, but Doctor Who is like purely TV and expanded universe. It hasn't made it into that film franchise. But what I'm getting at though is there's not a lot of movies that have this multi-generational feeling that started as movies and then have not been remade. I know that's a lot of qualifiers, but it's something really special, and I'm about to upset a lot of people, but that's where I get where a lot of people are like, I grew up with Harry. I'm like, yeah, you grew up with Harry, but you're 30. You're not old, you're 30. Like, my fandom is older than you actually are. And that's not in a my fandom is better, and I'm not trying to say Star Wars is better than Harry Potter. I'm just trying to point out that's how it's different. Or even comparing Star Wars to Marvel, which I did in another video, is different because the MCU is a adaptation again. It's something that was already established that the films are pulling from. So in May is really just this time for me to appreciate what makes Star Wars special, what makes Star Wars different. It just, I don't know, I get hyped. I get hyped even when there's not a Star Wars movie. Like, May just becomes my favorite month because there's so much Star Wars to talk about all of the time and so many things to remember. So hopefully by now you haven't figured out that I had no point for really making this video other than I just really wanted to talk about it. I really wanted to talk about how much I like Star Wars Anniversaries. I also always appreciate the symmetry that the first and third movies of each trilogy came out on the same days, and that probably has something to do with the way calendars work and them being 6 years apart. But I just like that episode 1 and 3 came out on the same day, and episodes 4 and 6 came out on the same day. And I think it's pretty apt that Solo is coming out on the same day that the entire saga started. So with that, if you're still listening at this point, thank you for watching. I super appreciate it. Leave me a comment and tell me what May means to you and what Star Wars means to you, or if I've upset you or insulted you in some way. I'm sorry. Make sure you're following us at Port Haven Forums on Twitter. Visit port-haven.com for even more. And until next time, keep it real and fly casual.
Cooking candies are